Day 3, so still 0 in the bank, 0 job interviews, and 88 days to get my life turned around. As always, the first thing we do is say hi to Buddha, and then we gotta get a cup of coffee to wake up, check outside to see the rain, and then get some oatmeal because we're still on this healthy diet. And then it's time to get to work. Okay, first things first, since I need to get out of my parents' house, I need some income to get a place or at least survive, so we're gonna first apply to 3 jobs on actual websites, so we gotta figure those out. We gotta work on the MVP for this AI business app, do some leak codes, exercise, no alcohol, weed, or drugs, and figure it out. So, first things first is my friend Jermaine on the phone call yesterday during the video sent me all these different applications in Pearson, King County. So we're gonna go through and just fill out 3 of them. So the first one we're going over is basically the transit. So Pierce County Transit needs IT networking person basically to come in and help them out. So what I'm doing is basically going through and making sure it passes the ATS system, and I'm just speeding through this really quick, and boom, let's check that off. First thing done. So next we got to focus on some fitness and some health. So first we eat some turkey with 8 crackers. It's raining out, so we get our raincoat on. Of course, Buddha's always ready for a run. And then out the door we go, so we can get ready and get a workout in to get this body in shape for a clear mind. Okay, so I'm on my way to my run, but I want to do a little brainstorming so I could really think about my thoughts while I'm on a run. Yeah, it's a little rainy and gloomy out, if you could see. Buddha's still happy, but one thing I'll say is if you need an excuse to get out every day and exercise, get yourself a big dog or like borrow someone's dog, because I get no days off with this dog, Buddha. But yeah, so I want to brainstorm more about the AI business idea I want to start. So originally in the first video, I sort of pitched about a lead generation mechanism for real estate agents. But I went and did some competitor research, and that idea just exists. A lot of people already built it. It is making a lot of money for agents, but it's just not something I would use and not something I'd get super excited about building, you know? So I think what I said in the second video is I'm going to pivot to something more like an accountability coach or a life coach that could like send you text messages throughout the day and remind you. You could have different AI personas, like a drill sergeant, like for harsh feedback, or maybe even someone more compassionate, like let's say if you need help getting a relationship or something. But I don't know, that's just the idea I'm thinking now. I'm not saying I'm going to stick with this idea. There's still an opportunity. I might pivot. But at this moment, I'm thinking that could be something I could use every day. The other ideas I was thinking is like an AI car assistant, because I was going through like Google and a lot of these other large tech companies like Meta and all these Apple, and all of them basically put out different projects they want you to work on. And they're all sort of bored of seeing the same projects on the portfolios where people basically build chatbots that just take some files and then could teach you about the files, or use some sort of simple RAG, which is like, if you don't know tech, it's like retrieval augmented generation, where it basically just lets you embed, it just helps you find what text in the document the person talking to the chatbot actually wants to talk about. So like just helps you find relevant information. But they're all bored of those ideas, and that's sort of all I was going to be doing with the real estate app. It was just going to be a QR code someone could click on. So this way, it's something I could use every day, and if anyone's here for like personal development, maybe you could use it as well. And if anyone wants to help with it, I think I'll probably do an open source project. This way, let's say someone doesn't necessarily want it trained on their data, because, you know, if you're entering personal information in, that's sort of sensitive. Well, I guess if for the public one, since I do want to make money with this app somehow, like charge like $20 or $30 or $40 a month for like the base features, I could like encrypt it or something so it doesn't actually share personal information. But let's say someone's an engineer and just wants to make their own sort of persona or help like develop it, I'm probably going to open source it so anyone could sort of help build this project. So yeah, that's what I think I'm going to build when I get home. I still got 2 more applications I have to apply for. I first applied for that transit one, which is a job I really would not want to do. It'd like sort of suck the soul out of me. But yeah, if you guys are liking this series, feel free to comment what you guys want me to talk about, or if you guys want me to go more in depth on like the personal development side or the fitness side, or more in depth on the technical side, let me know. Because right now I'm sort of just skimming the surface of each one to see what people are interested in and posting my progress along on the day. So, alright guys, it's sort of rainy out, so I'm gonna focus on the road. So, alright guys, follow me on my run. And of course, I always have to look at my boat for some law of attraction. Ready, Buddha?
Please tell me all the bad, never good. Fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts. I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong. I won't stop to the top, so you better back off again.
Okay, so after warming up and getting some jump roping in, it was time for a run. And of course, Buddha's always ready, so we started running. And then I had to get my own hill runs in and let Buddha chill for a bit. And then back to the trails where Buddha is in his own environment, where he basically was making his own path up all these mountains. So he didn't know where the trail was going, but he made his own trail. And he just went beast mode on me up these hills. And then eventually we made it up, and we're almost headed back to the car now. Let's go. Okay, so if you can see, I'm currently driving home, but yeah, so that was great. I got my mind and body cleared. Basically, I got my mind and body cleared. It's always good. So now I'm just driving home. Rain stopped, so now I gotta go sit on the computer, knock out 2 more applications, and I could get to working on this AI business. So you guys are probably wondering, what problem am I trying to solve? Or what AI businesses am I trying to start? And I'm going to rephrase it as I want to start solving a problem first. So I've been trying to think while I was on my run, what problems do I actually have in my life, you know? So one problem, of course, is I need a job and some source of income. But I feel like there's tons of different job apps out there like Indeed, LinkedIn. You could just apply on companies' websites. So I'm not really seeing a place for there to be another app to submit your resumes and find jobs, especially when the customer in that sense is usually always the businesses that pay to find employees. And then I'm not quite sure why they would switch over. So while I could see a problem there in my own life, I don't quite see a solution there. And the reason is I'm going problem first is a lot of people think when you're solving these problems, or at least all the YouTube videos and research I've done and people I've talked to, there's something called solution problem fit, where people have some sort of solution. Like let's say you got a chatbot or something, or you have like an app for blah, 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 an app for dogs to find you a date or something, or an app to find dogs for your friends. But you're not actually solving a problem first, because people don't really pay for your solution. People pay because there's a problem in their lives that they want solved. Or more specifically, if it's a business, they have like usually 1 or 2 problems. Either they need more customers so they could bring in more revenue, which is usually around more leads, or they have too many customers and not enough time, and they need a way to optimize their time so they can manage all their customers, you know, because they're a growing business. So if I was going into the B2B business space, I would definitely do that. But I don't know if I want to go to the B2B or B2C yet. I'm mainly just looking for a problem in my own life. And part of the problem I had is I'm currently using Notion to figure out my life, you know? If you guys have been looking every beginning of my videos, I've been going to Notion and just sort of organizing my day-to-day to see what I have to do and keeping track. This seems like the easiest way, but it's not really giving me a graph or anything to show how well I'm doing, or like sort of on GitHub, it doesn't if any of you guys are developers, it doesn't show me how consistent I am being in my different goals. And also, I have to go through and put everything manually. So right now, I'm mainly just focused on the applications and starting a business and working out and no weed and alcohol. But if I had a chart to show me how well I'm doing, that could potentially be something. But then the other side about it is, while I can see that being very helpful and a tool I don't want to give away free since it would help with like mental health, accountability, and life coaching, is that something I'd really pay for on my own? That's what I don't know. So this is why it's taken me so long to really find a problem to solve, even though I could code it pretty quickly with all the different no-code tools and vibe coding, and I already know how to code front end full stack, so building the app would be relatively easy for me. So yeah, I'm still brainstorming problems. The accountability app is definitely the top on my list right now because everyone needs help being more accountable. The only thing is, if it's something I don't know if I'd pay for, would I really? So I'm thinking of apps I do pay for, which is like Spotify, and I pay for that because it's always a problem sitting through ads or trying to find good music while you're trying to be in the flow, either working out or like working on projects. I pay for different developer tools. Like I pay for like Cursor because it helps me code faster and be more productive. So I'm trying to think in that realm. Maybe something to help me find a job, but I don't know. If my goal isn't to really find a job, my goal is to start a business, and I'm just finding a job to supplement my dream of starting a business. Is that something I really want to do? Is build something in a space I don't really have a full passion about. So that's why this gets very confusing. I use workout apps like to track my diet and everything, but I don't really pay for them ever. You know, they're always sort of free. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep brainstorming, and then if I can't think of something, I'm just gonna create the accountability and life coaching app just for myself to help me get my life on track and sort of brainstorm, or maybe something in the journaling space to help me journal my life and my thoughts. Because that's something I would actually use every day since I'm already using Notion. If I had some way where I could just talk to it like a voice assistant, I could see that being better. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna ride and just drive and focus on the road since it is a little wet out, and I probably shouldn't be doing this too much while I'm out driving. So yeah, guys, I'll catch you guys when I get back. Peace out. But of course, we have to eat healthy, so we're gonna have a protein shake with a little milk, some berries, and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich just to get so we get back to work. So now it's time to get back to work. So first thing we're going to do is apply for a technical program manager at Cooper Software Networking. And what they're doing is basically an Amazon, a low Earth orbit satellite broadband network, e.g. ChatGPT, to get this done. And then check, we're done with the second application. On to the third, so I don't waste your guys' time when we get to the fun stuff, which is the AI business. Next, we found a web and digital collaboration technology manager, and this is working for the city of Tacoma. So we do the same thing again with the ATS system, e.g. ChatGPT again. And now we're on to the fun part, which is starting our business. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, if I am going to make this AI life coach or accountability app for myself, I just wanted to test the different frameworks. So I first went to Figma since they had the IPO release and tested out their design. Their design was cool, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. So I said, instead, could you make a mobile first wireframe? And instead, make different personas. Like you could have a sergeant or something, like from the military, giving you harsh feedbacks on your workouts and telling you, get it done. Or you could even have someone with more like emotional contact or compassion, similar to like a yoga instructor or something that says, hey, you need to meditate and take time to your day and really take time to enjoy life. So I'm just testing Figma out because I don't quite know what to code yet. And the coding part's pretty easy with Cursor and making a full stack app. But if I don't know what it'll look like, it makes it a little difficult. And what I want to do is make it look like the Summit app. So if you look, there's like the GitHub portion of it where it has like the little GitHub map. And then I also want the little character thing like you see in different video games, like FIFA, where you could see the different like attacking, defending on the different star diagram, like the pentagram or whatever you call it. So that's going to be a requirement. So I tried both Claude and Figma to see what the difference between them looked like, to see which looked better. And I think it came out pretty well. So I definitely think the Claude one is a bit better. If you look, it actually has emojis and icons and they look sort of cool. And then I wanted a voice assistant since this is supposed to be a voice first application. Sorry about that plane. I wanted to compare them. So the first one Figma made was pretty cool. You could push a button at the very bottom of the screen and it would pull up different options for what you want to like check off. And then the other one, you just one big button in the middle of the screen that Claude gave that you click, and then it basically just tells you you could use it. So I found this other tool when I was going through LinkedIn called UXPilot.ai, which is supposed to be like the better version of Figma. I guess some people were saying Figma AI is dead, but this UXPilot.ai is supposed to be way better. So I thought I'd test it out. So this gives me 3 different options of what to do. So in other words, I'm testing Figma design, I'm testing Claude design, and I'm testing UX Pilot design. And all 3 of these are going to give me a starting design in which I could go into Cursor, Vercel, VO, or some of these other tools to start creating this product. But I don't know if you guys want this more technical or more business oriented or just more personal development. So I'm basically breezing through this. So as I went through, I watched this little sample video of learning how the UX Pilot works because each of these tools worked a little differently. And yeah, so basically all I was supposed to do is type it in. So I wanted to copy the same prompt. So after creating an account, I basically used their free version. I didn't want to pay their paid version, but it hooked me up with 90 free credits. And I went in and tested it out. So what I first did is copied the prompt I use in the other ones from the point of saying, hey, I want these accountability coach similar to Summit AI, the app that closed down, and it has to have different personas. And I click generate just to see what happened. And generation was okay. It wasn't perfect. And I think out of all of them, Claude Artifacts actually had the best design, which I think I'll go with. I'm still trying to decide if I should use this option where Claude just has you push the big button and it sort of interprets what you're trying to mark off, or if you should be able to click the specific habit or daily tracking, I don't know, section like health, wellness, whatever, career, and then it will automatically do it or check it off. So yeah, guys, this is about just planning the business before I jump into coding because the coding won't take too long. It'll only take me about a day or two once I know what I'm actually coding. So now time to see what's up for dinner. Okay, so for dinner we wanted something healthy, so we just had some shrimp with some sauteed and some rice, just plain. Should have had brown rice, a few cucumbers, tomatoes, and some greens to throw into a salad. And of course had to hook up my brother's little dog with some feta, and then Buddha had to get the feta, watch us catch. And yeah, after that, just put it all together and then got to my meal. Look at this little dog, Buddha's a little minion wanting food all the time. But yeah, got a full plate, healthy food, and ready to go. Okay, and to finish out this video, I'm just going to talk for a little bit about what's next for this project. So now basically I have a better idea of what we're building for this AI business plan or project, which is basically a life coach / accountability planner that I could use myself that's voice activated so I don't have to type everything in manually. I think the next step is actually to figure out the business behind it because, yeah, I know I can make this, and depending on, I just don't know how many features I want to add before like rolling it out to a real product, how I'm actually going to have a go-to-market strategy in a G2G. That's basically like how are you going to get your first 10 to 100 customers, And it's probably not really fair that I use this YouTube channel, even though I'm going to use it anyways. I'll have to actually contact some of my friends or people I know who are in fitness or health or just trying to bettering their life and try to convince them to use it even for free so they could give me some feedback. I'm sure they will because I have friends who always say, I need accountability coach. Will you be my accountability coach? So if I'm just like, hey, here's an app and I'll help you on the back end, even with accountability, like I'll look through your logs and maybe even like have a way where I could have my own UI into their account so I could help them, like friends help friends as well as AI help friends, but they're probably just gonna like use the AI to do it. This will at least tell me, are people gonna use this product and stick around for it? Or are they just gonna try it out one or two times like a lot of products and then just end it? So what I need to do now is I'm just gonna put together a I'm trying to decide either a pitch deck or business plan. So if I go the business plan route, basically just be an outline on a document, but that'd be sort of boring for me to show you guys tomorrow because it wouldn't have pictures or graphs or charts or anything. But what I might do tomorrow or like tonight, I still got to do some leak code questions before I can get to bed, at least three. I'm thinking if I threw together a business plan and just showed you guys and talked to you guys through the business plan after we finish the other stuff tomorrow, possibly just copy that and post it into a quick pitch deck. So it's basically talking about, hey, what's the problem this solves? Which is everybody's sort of lost right now. Everybody wants to improve different areas of their life, but they don't really know how, and they don't know a way to keep themselves accountable. And that's the biggest thing. Like, there's the whole doom scrolling, which I don't think I'm going to touch about that, but more so people want to get healthier, they want to get in shape, and they want to get more healthy. So we're gonna sort of or financially well or career advancements. So if I could write down these problems into sort of a document, it would help me understand what like two or three, well, probably three problems I want to solve first, and how this app is going to actually solve this problem, solve my own problems with this. And then from here, I could start understanding like, okay, so if I seen this app somewhere, how much might I pay for this? Like, would I pay like $5 for it, or would I pay 30 or $40 for it? But then additionally, you have to look at like, okay, if you have this revenue coming in, like let's say you're selling this for $20 a month, you got 100 customers, you're making 2,000 a month. That's okay. I'll probably need more customers. But let's just say that keeps it doable for most people because a Netflix subscription is already like that price or a Disney Plus. So let's say we did $20 a month and they get access to this, they get access to the voice assistant. Then I'll actually have to go to like 11 Labs and what's the other one? Whisper, which is like OpenAI's model for you could basically speak to it and it'll transcribe what you're saying. And then I have to look at 11 Labs to see how much it would cost to basically take audio and or take text and change it to speech or like someone talking. Like they have these different models that sound like different people. I'll have to see how much that will actually cost to train and to continuously use. And I'm not going to go too in depth with that, but the business plan should sort of give me a rough estimate of, hey, is this actually feasible? Like what's the initial plan and will it make money? So, because if we're starting a business and I'm trying to really get out of here, get my own place, move out, have something successful, or maybe I could hire some people and we could have a whole team building this, then it actually, you can't just willy nilly. I guess we could just throw it out there and see what sticks. But the biggest problem I notice is from people I know who can code, they code apps all the time in these different projects, but then they get stuck on the marketing because they don't know how to market it. But then there's always the debate like, hey, you don't need to sell if you market correctly, and you don't need to market if your product's good enough. So I don't know if you guys heard that before, but yeah, so basically in the next video, we'll start building this business plan or I'll go over what I did off camera. I'll try to get a pitch deck so it's more interesting than just looking at text on a document or hearing me talk through it. And then from that point, we could start making almost like a product. What's it called? a product journey map. I don't know if that's what it's called, but basically figure out what first 3 features we should build so I could start going into the architecture, because I already know pretty much what we're going to use, like Stripe and front end, back end, and all that stuff. But it's always good to have a diagram. So we'll focus more on the actual business concept tomorrow and maybe getting some architecture stuff out of the way. And I'm actually having a cool meeting with this dude. He's retired and he makes robots. So he basically has like almost 60 acres or something of land down south. And he contacted me because he needs someone who could help him with computer vision. Because I did a lot of that in my grad research. So if he lets me, he might not, so no promises. I could just give a recap. I might be able to like share what we're talking about, because I might actually get to go down and help him build some robots, which one mows like 60 acres of lawn, which would be pretty cool. And helping build that, which he said it's already autonomous and mows, but it would be cool to add some other additional features to it. And another one he's doing is there's like some of these plants, I don't quite know what it's called, but like when you go into Washington, they have like these really thick plants with like these yellow flowers that sort of in like desert places. Don't ask me what they're called, but he's trying to make like a computer vision model that could like classify it or detect them. I don't know if it's going to be object detection or classification. That's getting too technical, but might get to help work on that. So that would be cool if I could have a whole video series or just include it in this series where you guys get to see a robot getting built as well. The only problem about that is I don't know if it's a paid thing. It's probably just going to be a fun project to sort of get me out of the house. And then, yeah. So, all right, guys, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'm going to call it a night so I could post this video by 11. It's already like 10:17. So, good night, y'all. I'll catch y'all in the morning.